Hey, it's Cam for Techtainian, and this is the review of the brand new, highly anticipated gadget from Apple Inc. in Cupertino, the new iPad 2. And with all the new crazy Android tablets out there, the tablet wars are really starting to heat up this year. So there's lots of wonder if the iPad 2 is going to be as good as everybody wants it to be and up to the real competition. So, without any further ado, this is the iPad 2 review from Techtainian. So let's take a peek at some of the hardware on the device first. So, on the bottom we have a 30-pin connector. We have the two volume rocker. Have a toggle for orientation lock or mute on the top. We have the lock button, which is a very nice lock button. It has a really nice click to it. Feels really good. It's like all the other buttons feel also really nice. Apple's done a really good job just paying attention to detail, making some really nice clicky buttons here that are really nice to click. On the top, small microphone pinhole up there. 3.5mm headphone jack. Nothing on that side, just the thin 8.8mm design there. It's really nice and thin. The back got the Apple logo. It says iPad at the bottom. iPad at the bottom. It says the gigabytes right there. The front, all glass. Home button at the bottom. Small VGA quality camera at the top. All in all, a very thin, nice design. It really kind of just, you know, melds away and lets you focus on the screen, which gives you a beautiful 9.7-inch screen, 1024 by 768. They didn't up the resolution, which is kind of a complaint of mine because the last year's iPad had the same resolution, and there were some complaints about if you look really close on the screen. Let's just do this now. If you zoom in a lot, you can see that it looks pretty nice there. But if you look at this text really small when you're really zoomed out, I don't know if you can see that, but there were some complaints that things got a little bit pixelated and then it wasn't perfect for reading because things got pixelated and they weren't super high res. And especially after the iPhone 4 came out and everybody was super blown away by that super high quality Retina display that Apple would show more off for the iPad. But that's not right now. Nothing to be seen. We got the same resolution, but it still is a really nice looking screen. Colors are vibrant, they really pop. Beautiful colors, great viewing angles if you look there. Really nice viewing angles and beautiful colors. So it's not the actual screen, just the resolution that's kind of a small complaint. If we compare it to a pencil, you can see, and an iPhone 4 for some size comparison. And we'll compare it to the iPad 1. Here's the iPad 1. You can see the screens look nearly identical if we zoom in. They are the exact same screen. You can just look at some icons. If we compare the thickness of the two devices, iPad 2 is 8.8mm and the iPad 1 is 13.4mm. The iPad 2 weighs 1.3 pounds in comparison to the 1.5 pounds of the iPad 1. There are the backs. Hopefully the iPad 2 is not as prone to dents as the iPad 1 is. Like, it just, if you dropped it even once, these dents would just start really piling up. The dents were just awful. They just were really hard to deal with. So hopefully the iPad 2 is a little bit better. But who knows? we can see that one of the big new features of the iPad 2 is one of the big new hardware features is how much faster the CPUs are, the new dual-core A5 CPUs. And that definitely does show through if we load up a game on both iPads. First, we'll just clear out anything out of the previous applications. So we're all clean. And we'll load up Infinity Blade, because that's a pretty big application. There we go. Still waiting on the iPad 1. There we go. So I'll put in the times for both of those. So, if we do, we can compare some other stuff. We can compare loading a web page. My internet connection is not that good, but still it is fair because both tablets have the same. So there's the iPad 2. Also, that this is not fully fair because the iPad 1 is not running iOS 4.3, and that has apparently improved the browser, but not a fully fair test. Here is the brand new, kind of crazy, photo booth application, which has been on the Mac for many years. If we kind of pick this swirly effect, you can see you can move the effect around, make it bigger or smaller, turn it, take a picture, you can switch the camera to the back camera. It's pretty cool, but just photo booth. There's tons of other effects, like a kaleidoscope effect, and there is X-ray effect and stretch effects, and there's lots of different effects to play with. The cameras, the new edition of cameras on the iPad 2 also gives you the ability to just take normal pictures. But this does bring me to say that the iPad 2 has an awful camera. It's just bad. It's just really a bad camera. Let's take pictures very fast. Taking 720p video with it is more acceptable. It doesn't look as bad, but it's still not the best video. Not even close to what the iPhone 4 can do in terms of quality. But that's mainly okay because these cameras are really just for FaceTime when it comes right down to it. So it's not really a big problem that the cameras don't take the best. Oh, I'm covering it up. Don't take the best video. All the other software on these tablets is basically the same as before. Nothing's really changed. You know, the music app is still the same. I have to say that the speakers on the iPad 2 seem just as good quality as the original, but they don't seem to get as loud. And there was never any distortion on the iPad 1, and the fact that the speaker doesn't seem as loud, and that the speaker now faces the back. If you look there, the grill's right there. It kind of faces back now, which is different than the iPad 1 where they faced out the bottom. It seems a lot harder to hear the speaker sometimes because the sound is going back, and it's not as loud. But it's not the biggest problem if you're using headphones, and it still does get fairly loud. It's just not quite as loud as the original, and that is a small complaint of mine. But all the other applications are the same. We can play a movie, Star Trek. The iPad 2 is great for movies. They just have really nice quality, everything looks great. You don't have to worry about pixelation like you did with reading. The only kind of annoying thing is because of the iPad's 4:3 aspect ratio, movies that are in super widescreen do have quite a bit of black. top and bottom, which is kind of annoying. But you can still watch movies that look fine, like Get Smart here, that's not in super widescreen, so it looks fine. Great Warner Brothers flick. So there we go. We've still got maps from the iPad 1. These are all great iPad 1 applications. With hybrid view and the nice pull up the corner thing. What else can we load up? We got the new GarageBand and iMovie apps, which I'll be doing more detailed reviews of later. Just in a nutshell, both of them are really great apps. They've got just really cool features. I've made some pretty fun songs. I made this song the other day. And I just made this in an hour or so, not even just playing around with some of the really cool instruments on here. Like, this app for $5 is totally worth the investment. There's just some really fun drums, piano. We got the piano here. Smart guitar. And I'm definitely not a guitarist, but really nice. If we show the iMovie app right here, it's also a really nice new app. Both these apps are really cool new apps. So those are some of the really cool new software features of the iPad 2. There's some just really great apps all around, you know, everything's just really cool. It's the great iPad that we've always, you know, loved, and this may be the advantage it has over some of its Android counterparts, is that it has so many applications. You've still got the App Store, and there's just some really great apps on here. Just other stuff too, like games and productivity applications. There's just never going to be a shortage. One of the iPad's other big new features is the smart cover. This little leathery, one of the great new features of the iPad, and it just clicks on. I'll show you that again. Here it is. That's it. There you go with It is very cool new. It is very nice to cover the front of the screen. There's all kinds of different things you can do, like make the stands with it. You can flip it halfway over and then flip it around back. If it's halfway flipped, it's nice because it keeps it out of the way and the camera is still exposed. It's a really cool thing. It is definitely overpriced, in my opinion. $69 for leather, $39 for polyurethane is totally a rip, in my opinion, but the nice thing also about it is that you can set it on its face like this if you don't want the back scratched, and it will protect it. But I have been using it for about a week and a bit, and it's already got quite a few scratches on, which is kind of annoying. If you look, but it is really nice quality leather. It feels really nice and real, but it does get scratched up. If you look over here on the side, it kind of just clicks on. So, should you buy an iPad 2? Well, that really depends on the person. In my opinion, if those big features like the smart cover, the speed, or the new design aren't super attractive to you, or I should say the FaceTime and doing camera and videos, doing like lots of pictures and videos and doing tons of FaceTime, if there's nothing there that's really super amazing for you, then the iPad 2 is definitely not an essential upgrade. It's nice, but it's not gonna, change what was never possible before. It just isn't that much of a huge upgrade. For me, I really love the new speed improvements. I play quite a lot of games and do movies and stuff, and the speed improvements are really nice. So that's a really nice thing for me. But if those aren't some really great things for you that you really, really need to have, then by all means, grab yourself an iPad 1, save yourself a real chunk of coin, and you're going to be a happy camper, I guarantee you. With an iPad 1, and you'll be fine. And if you already have an iPad 1, well, then you can just stick with that. But if it's your first tablet and you're not happy with the Android stuff, this is going to be the tablet to get. And in my opinion, I haven't spent a lot of time with Honeycomb. I've spent a little bit of time. But right now, with Honeycomb as 100 apps versus 150,000, I think it's pretty clear, these devices are blank slates. They are just slabs without their applications. And you really need that application ecosystem. I think next year, after Android Honeycomb's matured a bit, and we'll see a lot more apps, that's the time to look again at Android Honeycomb tablets. But for now, I think the iOS tablets are doing just great, and that's just the way I think it is right now. But that has been the iPad 2 review, Techtainia's iPad 2 review. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section below, down there. Put them below, and I'll try to get back to you as fast as possible. I normally get back to all the comments. And that's about it. So it's been the iPad 2 review by Cam, so thanks.